everyone. I'm Amanda Shee. I am an anesthesiologist and intensivist. Welcome to my channel. On my channel, I talk about what it's like to be an anesthesiologist and an intensivist. I provide advice to pre-meds, medical students, and anesthesia residents. And I also just talk about life advice and anything else that's on my mind. I'm super excited to share with you that I just got the brand new MacBook Air with the M1 chip, and I wanted to do the unboxing with you. Okay, here goes packaging. Packaging is off. Just gonna take the lid off. And here's the computer. It's beautiful. It's really, really light and a serious change from my other computer. So currently I have a Lenovo Yoga. That's what it looks like. And compared to the MacBook Air, kind of what it looks like. They're pretty similar. They're pretty much the same size as well. Actually, I'd say that the Air has a lot more weightiness to it. And inside the package, the usual Apple stuff. So you have a little guide, the charger, and one USB cable. I'm really excited to be back in the Mac world. I actually had a Mac when I was an undergrad, and I'll tell you a long story short, it crashed in the middle of finals in my engineering school. And it was really stressful because I had to go to the the Apple store over and over and over again until finally they just gave me a new one after a year of having failures of the Mac. I used that for a number of years, and then once I started medical school, my medical school at OUWB actually gives every single student a MacBook Pro. So I used that from 2011 until I started here, and about 3 years ago I purchased my PC after being a Mac person for about 6-7 years. Although I actually will still probably be using my PC for the majority of my work stuff, I really wanted to come back to the Mac platform to be doing more creative stuff like editing these videos and being able to share some of my creative side through my Mac. I'll play around and get back to you. A couple of the pictures ahead are just of my unboxing and a comparison between my old laptop, my Lenovo Yoga. One of the things I don't love about the new MacBook Air is that it doesn't have a touch screen, and I can't lay the screen all the way flat or use it like a tablet, which I can with my old laptop. Some other first impressions about the new MacBook Air is it is really fast, it's easy to use, but I'm a little frustrated that it only has these 2 USB-C ports. I haven't had a Mac in a while, and I've been used to using a PC with a normal USB port and being able to use a splitter like this, a multi-port, to be able to combine or to use my keyboard as well as my mouse. Especially in pandemic times, being confined to just 2 USB-C ports is a little frustrating. So that, and having to buy this adapter in order to use a regular USB is a little frustrating. One thing I am loving is that there is a mirroring feature with Sidecar that's automatically built in. So I'm able to now just use my iPad as my second display. So on my left, I have my iPad. You can see that my mouse is over here as a second display. And on my right, I'm using iMovie to edit this video right now. I've been playing with the new MacBook Air for about a day now, and I wanted to let you guys know about my first thoughts using the new laptop and just overall kind of a review of some of the thoughts or ideas I kind of had as I went into purchasing the computer. First and foremost, I will say that purchasing it was actually pretty easy. I live in Boston, in downtown Boston, and decided to search everywhere to figure out which place had it in stock. And I decided to actually get the introductory model, the lower priced model, so the $999 base MacBook Air, because I really wanted to see if this base model would be enough for my computing needs, especially with the upgraded chip. And after watching a ton of tech reviews, it seemed like the MacBook Air was actually the better way to go because the chip is so efficient and able to deliver the kinds of speeds and things that I need in order to be productive and effective in my day. So I went with the $999 one. I searched everywhere. None of the Apple stores had the MacBook Air in stock. So I went to Best Buy and walked 2 miles round trip in order to pick this up. I probably shouldn't have been so impatient about it and just waited for it to be shipped from Amazon or take advantage of Apple's shipping or getting it directly from them, because I could have saved some money by using my Apple Card or doing the financing plan in order to split up the payments. But here we are. I paid extra essentially in order to get the laptop quicker. Another thing about that is that I wanted to mention that with AppleCare, I typically don't get AppleCare for my iPhones. I have had an iPhone for a while, but I decided to do it for this laptop because I haven't had a Mac for a while. As I said earlier, I went from my Mac when I started residency from medical school and switched to a PC because I couldn't justify the cost of buying a more expensive laptop at that time. And at that time, you know, the MacBooks were using the Intel chips, and each of the Intel chips at the base model of the Mac were actually lower quality than the PCs. So I decided that I would save a little money and I bought a PC, which I actually am still using. I love it. I'm probably still going to use that for my main computing needs for work, et cetera, But for now, I'm going to see how MacBook Air kind of holds up for additional stuff such as editing these videos. In terms of cost, $999 plus I got $50 off my AppleCare, so it wasn't that much more. So it's a total of about $1,200 with everything included. In terms of kind of first thoughts on how well it works, I don't think any of the reviews were lying. The laptop definitely boots up super quick. I open the lid and it automatically shows up. So I'll even show you, like, once I open it, it's incredible. There's my OneNote with my notes to talk about what I wanted to mention, and it automatically shows everything that I had going. So in terms of speed, it's definitely there. I've been running various Microsoft Office programs on the laptop. So I have been using OneNote. It has not crashed. I've been using Google Chrome, the M1 specific edition of it. It has not crashed. And I've been using iMovie, and I just downloaded my cloud-based backup service onto the laptop, and I'm currently backing everything up right now so that I'm protected from anything. And as an aside, I highly recommend that you get some sort of backup service besides just the physical external hard drive. I learned the hard way when I actually had my first Mac about hard drives crashing and how incredibly painful it is to try to remake everything. Or I'll tell you, it was during finals week that my laptop crashed, and it was horrible. The stress I felt trying to redo all of my homework, my projects, and not have a working computer. That's my little plug for making sure you get a backup. In terms of battery life, I can't really assess that well because it came pretty well charged. I used it for a while with iMovie and kind of played around with it, and then I charged it to 100% last night, and now I haven't charged it since. So since last night, I used it for my application reviews, which is a pretty low need or a low power type of review. It's just on a browser. I went through a couple of applications, and then I went ahead this morning and did some more intensive editing of this particular video on iMovie. I also downloaded the Microsoft Office suite. I'm using OneNote. I also have my iDrive cloud backup running in the background, trying to upload things, and I threw some stuff together together on Canva in order to put everything together for this movie. And it's all right. It's at 61%. I will say that most of my other laptops probably would not have made it to this point. So that's been pretty good. I'd say the battery life is much better. I will say too that using iMovie, I have seen the beach ball once or twice already. So this whole like review saying that you basically are not seeing it struggle or throttle when it's trying to work on significant processes. I don't know that it's totally that good, but it's pretty good, I will say. In terms of portability, this is, as I showed you earlier, the same size as my other laptop. It's actually a little heavier. It's a little thinner up in front because it has the tapered design up to the front, but I will be using my old laptop case for my PC for this when I need to travel with it. So I don't think the size actually makes that big of a difference. In terms of the feel, I really love the keyboard. It's really nice and responsive. It feels like a real keyboard. It's not perfect. It's not, doesn't give that much feedback when you're typing really quickly, but it definitely gives more feedback and it's easier to get used to than my Lenovo PC. From that standpoint, it's good. I will say one thing I love that works really well is the Touch ID. My old laptop, there is a little Touch ID area there, but it never registered. With the new MacBook Air, there's a little area down over here that's for the Touch ID. It works beautifully. And then a lot of people have complained about the touch bar on the MacBook Pros, and I'm happy that I don't have to really deal with that. I don't think it would add very much for me in terms of having that touch bar. It's just one additional thing to have to deal with. MacBook Air has actual keys up and top, actual function keys, which I love. Everyone's kind of mentioned the webcam is meh. Well, anyway, if I really want to use a pretty webcam, I would upgrade the webcam. I wouldn't be using the integrated one. So that's that. It's not a big deal for me. In terms of just the software, I have been now a PC user for the last 3 years. Not to say that it's all gone, but there's definitely a period of getting used to going back to an iOS platform. But I will say back when I was using a Mac, didn't have iMessage functionality within the laptop. And now that I've come back and I can actually respond to iMessages on my laptop, it's been awesome. I love being able to do that. So yeah, overall, I would say I'm really happy with my purchase, even though it was kind of a splurge purchase and it was a bit of a just deciding to go for it. I dived right in. I will say again, because this is a brand new chip and this is a new design for Apple, I don't know that I would trust buying the laptop without having AppleCare as part of it, because I have experienced what a broken MacBook Pro and the pain of having to go to the Genius Bar in the Apple Store over and over and over again to get it checked out and not having a working device. So if you're gonna buy this device as your sole main laptop that you're going to do all your work on, please make sure you back it up and make sure you think about whether or not you should go with a technology that's already been tested and been around for a little bit versus delving into the new chip. That being said, so far I haven't had any issues, and as you know, the internet always responds to whether there are issues at all. And so I feel like it would be pretty easy to just go online and make sure to monitor some of the Reddit forums or other reviews to see some of the functionality issues that come up with the new laptop. But overall, I'm super happy. I'm super excited that I have this laptop, and thanks for joining in on my review.